Hey YouTubers, welcome to Being Barton. I'm Esther Barton, and today I'm going to talk about the questions I'm frequently asked regarding low FODMAP dieting. FODMAPs are a type of carbohydrate that when they're left in the body in the digestive tract, they ferment and they cause tons and tons of problems. FODMAPs are found in 5 different types of food groups, and so when you're limiting the intake of those items, there are actually very few items left in those categories that don't contain FODMAPs. Low FODMAP diets are typically prescribed for a period of about 8 weeks, and that means that for 3 weeks a patient would not be allowed to eat any FODMAPs in any of the 5 categories, and then each week after that one group would gradually be reintroduced so that a physician can tell which of these items are causing extreme problems for a particular patient. In this video I wanted to share with you some of the foods that I can eat, how I prepare them, and foods that I definitely have to avoid. Fructose is from fruit, so you're trying to avoid many fruits, all of those that contain fructose. You're also trying to avoid the lactose that's found in dairy products. So I use an almond milk, for instance, to avoid any kind of lactose in my diet. The third group is fructans, and fructans are found in many different types of vegetables. So I have a handful of vegetables that I can eat, and I try to prepare them different ways to create some kind of variety. The fourth group, I believe it's pronounced galactans, and those are found in legumes. So essentially beans, which everyone knows causes gas. Those are definitely not approved for the low FODMAP diet. And the last one is polyols, and they're found in artificial sweeteners and chewing gum. You also have to avoid like high fructose corn syrup and things like honey. For the fruits that I eat, I generally try to go with bananas, oranges, grapes, and blueberries. Also, these fruits are allowed in larger quantities. One of the things about the low FODMAP diet is that the portion size is everything. Even though in general there's a long list of maybe I'm going to estimate 100 foods or so that are approved, if you look at the portion size, some of the time the items that are approved, the amount you can eat is so small that it's hard for me to remember exactly what the limitation is, and therefore I don't include it in my diet at all. I try to go with items like a banana, which I'm allowed to eat 1 per meal. That's a reasonable amount, and it's worth me stocking that food and having it available for times when I may not have a meal ready to go. The other items that I'm allowed to eat are any unprocessed meat, fish, and eggs. Now I try to hard boil eggs so that I have a snack again. If I'm really hungry, I'm out on the go. Most of the foods I eat are not something I prepare for the rest of my family, so it's extremely important that I have something that I can eat when I'm really hungry and there is no food around that I can eat. Corn chips and potato chips are 2 of the snacks that I eat a lot of. Because onions and garlic are not approved, it's difficult to not be able to eat salsa, and then because of the no lactose, all those cheese dips and things that I would enjoy, I can't eat either. Rice and quinoa are 2 items that I prepare with my meat. I typically make my meat in a crock pot so that I can cook a lot of food in a fairly short amount of time. As far as vegetables go, I try to stay with lettuce, spinach, tomatoes, and potatoes. Potatoes are great because obviously I can bake them. I can cut them up in a skillet and do something like a hash brown. It's nice to know, frankly, that if I have to go through a drive-thru with the kids, technically I can eat French fries, and that's really nice. The final item on the approved foods list is seasoning. The main seasonings that I use are mayonnaise, soy sauce, and Worcestershire sauce, and then salt and pepper. I've actually found I'm glad that mayonnaise is on the list. Even though gluten is not a carbohydrate, so it's not technically a FODMAP, for my diet, I've also been told that gluten is not acceptable. And I found that most people on low FODMAP diets also can't eat gluten. If you look at the recommended food list for low FODMAP dieting, you'll find that gluten-free items are on that, and that's largely because gluten-free products tend to have a lower content of FODMAP items. Anything that's gluten-free is on that list as well, which does make it easier, although I will say that gluten-free bread products I have found to not be the most tasty, but it is still nice to be able to put mayonnaise on a gluten-free piece of bread and eat it with like tuna. That's something that is a relatively inexpensive meal that I like to eat. So that's the list of foods that are on the approved list. The main foods that I have to avoid that I found it to be difficult to stay away from: processed meats. This sounds silly, but I'm amazed how often the snacks that are nearby, it's convenient to be able to eat like sandwich meat, for instance, or grabbing a hot dog. It's difficult to remember that I have to avoid all of those processed meats, and it's difficult for me to avoid foods with gluten in it. So many foods have gluten. I love eating crackers. I love eating bread products, and that's something that I really miss. Avoiding gluten has been my biggest issue. Dairy, I love cheeses so much. much. Some hard cheeses are approved in a low FODMAP diet, but again, it's a very limited quantity, and so I may sprinkle some on a baked potato or add a little bit on top of chicken, but I generally avoid all lactose products because it just causes me so many problems. I hope that this video has been helpful. Make sure to hit the like button below if you enjoyed it. I'd really appreciate any of your comments. Tell me what it's been like for you. Are you on a low FODMAP diet? Have you had to prepare food for a person on a low FODMAP diet? Let me know about that. And as always, subscribe to this channel for more videos like this one. Thanks, guys.
You.